So today, we're going to do something a little different. We're not really analyzing a product or a service. Instead, we're going to investigate the marketing itself. We're going to deconstruct this single web page piece by piece to really understand the powerful communication techniques that are at play in persuasive web design. All right, so the very first thing that hits you are these two words, Liv Pure. Before you know anything else, no pictures, no descriptions, nothing. This name is already working on your subconscious. It's our first big clue. Now look at how these words are chosen to make you feel something. Live immediately makes you think of things like life, living, energy, vitality. It's active, it's positive. Then on the flip side, you have pure. That suggests something natural, clean, simple, and trustworthy. Like it's free of anything artificial or bad for you. And you gotta know, this is no accident. The people who made this are counting on those automatic associations. So what does it make you feel? Hopeful? Curious, maybe? Reassured? This is a deliberate strategy to frame how you see this thing from the very first second, building a positive vibe before they've even made a single real claim. Okay, so let's move on to the next part of our investigation. After setting that emotional stage with just a name, the page hits you with the element that's designed to grab your attention and demand you take action. This is what we call the hook. At the core of any persuasive web page is what marketers call the call to action. It's the one thing the page wants you to do, but here it's presented with this sense of extreme urgency and importance. First, we see a super simple, direct command, tap to play. This is language you see all over your phone, right? It feels intuitive, easy, and like it's no big deal. It's not asking for much, just a simple tap. But then, boom, right after that easy command, the stakes get way higher. Watch shocking video now. That word shocking creates this intense curiosity, and now adds that urgency. This isn't just an invitation anymore. It's a command that's really designed to trigger your fear of missing out. Okay, the choice of the word shocking is absolutely crucial here. It promises you information that isn't just new or interesting, but something that could change everything. It's designed to completely mess with your expectations and trigger a strong emotional response, pushing you to act on impulse instead of, actual reason. So let's just think about that for a sec. Why promise a shock? Well, information is something you can ignore. An update is something you can read later. But a shock? That implies a secret, right? A big revelation, something you absolutely have to know right now. It's a classic trick to make the message seem way more valuable and urgent than it might actually be. All right, next up, let's look at the part of the page most people's eyes just slide right over, the fine print. We're going to see how this part builds a subtle but really critical appearance of legitimacy. And this is where it gets kinda clever. You see all the usual suspects here, right? Links for privacy, terms, contact, affiliates. Our brains are so trained to recognize these from all the legitimate websites we use. They're like little subconscious check marks for professionalism and credibility, even if we never ever actually click on them. And finally, of course, you've got the copyright notice. This is another one of those small but potent signals. It suggests an established professional operation that protects its stuff, just like any other real business would. But hold on. Let's look a little closer at that date. Imagine you land on this page a couple years from now. Let's say it's 2026, and the copyright still says 2024. What does that tell you? Well, it could just be a simple mistake, or it could imply that this web page is built from an old recycled template that hasn't been updated, which might just be another small clue about the whole operation behind it. So let's put all these pieces together. We've looked at the name, the hook, and the fine print. Now let's just strip everything away and ask a really simple question. What do we actually know for sure? When we throw out all the emotional language, the implications, and the psychological triggers, this is it. This is the complete list of cold hard facts presented to us. The name is Liv Pure. There is a video to watch. They describe that video as shocking. There are some standard legal links, and the copyright is from 2024. That is the entire list. And right here, you can see this enormous gap between what we're being led to feel versus what we're actually being told. The implied promise is some kind of life-changing, urgent, natural secret. The stated facts? Just a name, a video, and a few links. So this brings us to the most obvious question, right? Looking at our little list of facts, what is the single most critical piece of information that is completely, totally missing? And that's the answer. We have no idea what Liv Pure actually is. Is it a diet, a product, an app? It is a complete mystery. And this isn't a mistake, it's the entire technique. The goal is to crank your intrigue up to 11 while giving you zero concrete information that your rational mind can actually think about or evaluate. And really, this is the key skill for navigating our modern digital world. It's the ability to just pause and consciously separate these two things, to analyze what is factually being said, not just how the message is being engineered to make you feel. So it all comes down to this one question. When a message promises you a shock, who is its real target? Is it your rational, analytical intellect, or is it your immediate, emotional impulse? And that's a question worth asking the next time you encounter a promise that seems just a little too shocking to be true.